morning. It's the afternoon here. So I have in-laws that live in New Zealand. My husband's from New Zealand, so familiar a little bit with the time difference. So welcome you guys, everybody that's on. I'll share with you a little bit about my story, and then I'll dive into a little bit about what I've, from a chiropractic standpoint, the importance of NRF2. So I heard about this information 6 years ago. I had a patient of mine come to me. She said, maybe a lot of us were introduced this way, I have an ABC Primetime investigative report that ends positive. It's in regard to wellness and prevention. So I thought, first of all, I was intrigued because ABC Primetime doesn't end positive, and wellness and prevention was right up my alley. So I took a look, immediately impressed, almost felt like it was too good to be true, but impressed. And what impressed me the most was that Protandim had the ability to turn on the body's power to produce more of our own antioxidants. And I know that the best pharmacy that we have is within our own cells, and we're figuring out how to turn that on through what's called nutrigenomics, the study of plants in combination altering our genes or tuning our genes. So that's what we have our hands on with NRF2 technology and Protandim. So at the time though, my kids were 2, 3, and 9. I was a year and a half into my chiropractic practice. I was not looking for more to do, but I knew that after looking at that ABC Primetime and then analytical by nature and skeptical by nature, my patient connected me to Dr. Mark Gordon, who shared it with her, and he explained this NRF2 pathway and how it worked. And I'm going to explain that to you guys because it blew my mind then and it still does today. So NRF2, what it is, it's a protein. It's within all of our cells. And NRF2 was discovered in the early 90s. So most docs, most people don't even know what it is. We are truly at the forefront of this information. And what happens with that protein, by the time we reach the age of 20, it slows down in its production. But when we can turn on that NRF2 protein, when we turn on that pathway by taking Protandim, which is a NRF2 activator, it actually attaches then to our DNA, upregulating the body's own antioxidants. So it helps the body increase those antioxidants like it did when we were young. You wonder why kids heal so much faster than we do? Their production of these antioxidants is so much greater. So it's a great way to combat that cellular stress as we age, and it's unavoidable. So fast forward now, 6 years later, I adjust about 40 to 50 hours a week in my clinic. The part of my job that's not done is patient notes, and that's the part of my job that I don't like. I'm often getting home, playing with my kids, and then remoting in to finish up whether it be patient notes or cases or looking up research on something, but my job's not done between that 9 to 5, and maybe some of you can relate to that. So that's why I'm really glad that I chose to weave this in to my life, not only for my health, my family's health, but for our financial health as well. So, but NRF2, I'm gonna move back to that. I wrote down some notes, so you'll see me looking away a little bit. I don't want to miss anything. From a chiropractic standpoint, when I was looking at this, and I recognized that Protandim, through activating NRF2, it does a number of things. It actually reduces inflammation in all mammals. It's proven to reduce inflammation in all mammals, and most people's pain is attached to an inflammatory process. If you have any itis going on in your body, it's inflammatory. So if you can reduce the inflammation, you can often reduce people's pain, and they can live with better quality. What also I found extremely fascinating, one of those antioxidant enzymes in our body, it's called glutathione. That's actually boosted by 300% after being on Protandim for 4 months. That's why I always will tell patients, anybody that I'm sharing with this outside of the clinic, if this is something that you want to try, really be committed 6 months to a year, because I really want to see what's going to happen in their body when glutathione boosts. It's the body's most potent antioxidant. It passes the blood-brain barrier, so it helps detoxify the brain of heavy metals. It helps detoxify the liver. It's largely responsible for muscle healing and recovery. So I see a lot of that in my clinic every day. I need help with anti-inflammatory, and I need help with muscle healing and recovery. So patients over the years that have been on this, along with care, they get well faster. Their healing potential is just increased that much more, turning on NRF2. So let's see. Also, what's interesting that this NRF2 in the ABC Primetime video, it talks about it lowers oxidative stress, which is cellular stress, 40% in 30 days. Protandim does. So that doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of people sometimes. So I have to explain what's oxidative stress. Well, imagine an apple. Keep it super simple. An apple, you cut it in half, you leave it on the counter, it goes brown. You know, you leave it, or I found it in my 15-year-old's drawer, like an old apple, it turns black. You know, it's going to oxidize. So that's what's happening to our cells. As we age, we have oxidation of our cells. And we get that, it's unavoidable. The air that we breathe, you mentioned asthma being very problematic in Australia. The air that we breathe can cause inflammation in our lungs and oxidative stress. The water that we drink, what we're putting onto our skin, 30 seconds later goes straight into our bloodstream. There's a lot of crud on a lot of the skin creams that are out there. So we've got to be careful. Like I said, it's unavoidable. Too much exercise, too little. More than an hour of exercise a day induces oxidative stress. So you might look at a high performance athlete and think they're perfectly healthy. Actually, they probably have more oxidative stress than the average person because of how much they work out. So, and that often catches up to them later in life. Another thing that's really interesting, after a head injury, and I see a lot of post-concussive syndrome, a lot of concussions in my office, your oxidative stress increases tenfold after a head injury. So if you can reduce that 40% in 30 days, that's a huge deal when it comes to healing and recovery. Also, glutathione is very important to boost with any head injury or concussion. So that's absolutely a protocol that I'll put people on as they're coming in if they've had a head injury. Back when I learned about this 6 years ago, NRF2, I'd go to a website called pubmed.gov, and Dr. Gordon encouraged me to do that. So I went there, typed in NRF2. There were probably about 500 studies. I just looked at pubmed.gov before I hopped on here because I was curious. I hadn't been on a while and just typed in NRF2. And NRF2, there's over 8,000 published peer-reviewed studies. This year alone, 936 published peer-reviewed studies on NRF2. This is the direction science is headed. This is the direction research has been going for several years now. Also, oxidative stress. This year alone, over 8,000, almost 9,000 studies have been published on oxidative stress because it is the root cause of over 400 diseases. People ask me all the time, how can this one little pill help with, disease A through Z? Well, it has a common denominator, and that's oxidative stress. So if we can lower oxidative stress, we can help with a lot of these conditions. We definitely can't make any claims because it's a nutritional supplement. We can't say that it cures, treats, prevents, or mitigates disease. But like I said, the best, most potent pharmacy we have is within our own cells. And we figured out a way to turn that on through this NRF2 pathway. So, and I love it. It's a built-in mechanism that we have to combat cellular stress. And another thing that have seen a lot of improvement with would be anybody that struggles with anxiety, depression, ADHD. That's one of the things that I immediately went to PubMed to look up. I encourage people, go there. Don't trust my opinion. Go there, type in oxidative stress and what you're concerned with. For me, it was diabetes and ADHD. My dad's been diabetic over 20 years. My son has struggled with ADHD since the age of 3. And I saw thousands of studies on both of those. So I decided, I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't, tell my dad go off meds, but I said, this is certainly going to help your body function better. And it's helped him tremendously with neuropathy, with circulation, regulating his hemoglobin A1C, his blood sugar levels. It's helped him regulate those. And it's reduced his his need for insulin, which is really, really neat. For my son, I was very hesitant. Hard pill for a chiropractor to swallow when you got to put your own child on a pharmaceutical. But when you see them struggling in school so bad, you don't want them to struggle in school. So we tried counseling, chiropractic, nutrition, cutting out dyes, cutting out gluten. We figured we tried about everything that we knew of for him. And we came to the point where we had to put him on a pharmaceutical med so he could function well in school. And he's incredibly smart. And I think a lot of ADHD, ADD kids and adults are incredibly brilliant. We just have so much going on. I'm self-diagnosed ADD, so I understand how my son's brain works. So I was hesitant to take him off of the Protandim, so off of the pharmaceutical right away. But every summer we take him off the pharmaceutical so his body could detox, cleanse, and so he could eat. A lot of kids that are on these meds, their appetite is suppressed and they don't eat, they don't grow. So I knew it was important to give his body a break. Well, every summer we took him off it. His anxiety, his social anxiety would skyrocket through the roof. 4th of July parties were out of the question for us because it just put too much stress on our son and a lot of stress on us. He got very anxious. So his 4th grade year is the first year we had him on Protandim along with the pharmaceutical drug. And between his 4th and 5th grade year, every summer, like we did, we took him off the pharmaceutical and his social anxiety virtually went down to 0. He met his very first best friend. And it's hard for a mom to not see your child making connections, and to finally have him make a connection and find, his first best friend between 4th and 5th grade. That was huge. So if this did nothing else for me regarding the business or the products, that right there, helping my son, all worth it. Today, now he's 15. He still hasn't had to be on a pharmaceutical medication, and I'm very grateful for that. And I just, incredible experience. My kids as well, everybody in my family is on it from really a preventative standpoint. For myself, I didn't have a lot going on physically, but what I noticed, my energy levels were more sustained. I was sleeping a lot better, deeper, waking up more rested. I've struggled with acne my entire life. I've tried everything under the sun, from the infomercials to dermatology to pharmaceuticals to any skin cream, potion, expensive skin creams. I've seen incredible changes in my skin with NRF2, with activating my NRF2 through the skincare, the true science, and also through the Protandim. And I think taking that inside out approach for skin conditions is huge. And so I can actually walk out of the house without makeup and feel okay. Whereas before, my skin was red and blotchy and a lot of blemishes, and there was no way that I'd ever walk out of the house without makeup. So that's been a blessing. It's helped with not only self-confidence, but also I'm really happy that I got it for my kids, because my husband and I both struggled with acne. So my kids, and my son at 15 rarely even gets a pimple. And at 15, I was struggling. That was probably the worst time for me for acne. Regarding his asthma, we really haven't had problems with that. That's why I became a chiropractor, because way back when he was 2, I was in a car accident. My chiropractor's wife adjusted kids, and I thought, why is she adjusting kids? And well, he said kids have nervous systems too. And I thought, well, this can't hurt. I'm going to take him in. And 1 month of care, my son was breathing with ease, no longer throwing up from all the mucus production. He couldn't really breathe when I'd lay him down. 1 month of care. He was off the nebulizer, steroid inhalers, and I decided at that point I wanted to be a chiropractor. I wanted to educate people on the importance of where true healing comes from, which is from the inside out. Above, down, inside out. And that's exactly what we have our hands on with this NRF2 technology. We get to share with the world how they can turn on their own body's ability to heal at a much more effective rate. So this, when it came to me 6 years ago, and after I looked into the science about it, it was a no-brainer to incorporate this into my practice, into my lifestyle, and share this with family, friends, and really I do want to bring it to the world. So whoever created that, introduction on the computer for me, bringing wellness to the world through chiropractic and nutrigenomics, that's absolutely part of my mission. And I'm not just going to keep it here for, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the United States. That's why it's fun getting on here with you guys and explaining what my experience has been with NRF2 technology over the years. incredible results. When patients, like I said, if patients are asking, well, will it help with this or that? I will go to PubMed and I'll type in NRF2 and their condition, or oxidative stress and their condition. And if we see a link, I say, it's not, you know, this certainly isn't going to hurt you. It's only going to turn on your body's ability to heal at a much more effective rate. So what else what do I want to share with you guys? Did you at all want to open it up to questions at all, or not at this stage? Just checking with you guys.
And we have got one question in the chat. I might as well mention this to you, is what's the best way for us to approach other chiropractors and share, you know, really get their attention so that they can see how amazing Protandim is, and so we can get it out into the world, because everybody should be on it. Absolutely.
One of the things that I tell my team, and if anyone's bringing this to their doctor, NRF2. Really, and the ABC primetime video is great, but it doesn't say anything about NRF2 technology. So if you guys have access to that Washington State study, the 2015 peer-reviewed Washington State study, what I can do is I've highlighted it, because most docs aren't going to look through an 18-page study and read through it. But if you've got it highlighted, the pertinent points, I can get that to one of you guys and you can distribute that. But I would ask a chiropractor, depending on your relationship with them, if you have a good relationship, you know, you could say, hey, I heard from a chiropractor, she's incorporated this NRF2 technology into her clinic, and it's helped patients with inflammation, with scar tissue, with healing and recovery, essentially. It's helped. If I had some information on how you could help your patients with, you know, reducing inflammation without a steroid injection, or reducing inflammation without the, you know, ibuprofen, the Aleve, the aspirin, would you be interested in taking a look? So that if I would you is a good one. And just, you know, or I really respect your opinion. Doctors of all sorts, we like our egos stroked a little bit. So if you can say, hey, you know, I really respect your opinion. You're a really smart guy or gal. I came across this study regarding NRF2, and they're probably going to not know what that is. And I think it's fascinating. So if I gave you a copy of that study, would you take a look at it? Because really in this study, it's incredible. It's one of the highlighted portions says that NRF2 may very well be the most therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And then in the third page of this study, there's a chart that says diseases where raising NRF2 is reported to be useful in prevention and or treatment of animal and human models. You're looking at things like neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ALS, Huntington, cancer prevention, chronic kidney, diabetes, chronic lung diseases, here we go, emphysema, asthma, pulmonary fibrosis, autoimmune diseases, inflammatory bowel. The list goes on and on here. MS, epilepsy, HIV/AIDS. So I think this is the most pertinent study to give another healthcare professional. And when a chiropractor understands that what Protandim is, it's an activator, not a supplement. It activates a pathway in the body to increase healing potential. So maybe if you guys have a pen, write that down. Protandim activates a protein in the body to increase healing potential. So we're working from the inside out. And as chiropractors, we know that. We have passion behind what we do because we get to see miracles in our office every day by removing nervous system interference and allowing the body to do its own healing. And this has only enhanced the body's ability to heal. So if they want to enhance the effectiveness of their treatments, they might want to take a look. But it really does depend on the relationship you already have with them. Some chiropractors, if you don't have a relationship with them, I would start off the conversation, do you carry nutritional supplements in your office? If the answer is yes, you know, then, hey, I've got some information that, you know, that might be of interest to you. And I always throw out, you may or may not be interested, but it'd be worth your time. You know, and if you guys are recording this, feel free to share this, you know, with any chiropractors that might be interested. Another thing, well, maybe I'll do another video. I did a video, and it's different for the US, on all the science behind our products. I may do one just on NRF2. on the NRF2 Protandim and skincare. If I do that, one of you guys stay in connection with me, and I'll certainly share that with you. That way you don't have to have all the words to try to explain this, because it is, especially as you're getting started, it's really kind of hard. Like, I know what I want to say, but it's not all coming out. But if you had, hey, I've got another chiropractor talking about NRF2, would you take, 5-10 minutes to take a listen about what this is all about? And I'll highlight a few of those studies. Another study that's really cool, University of Montreal published it last summer. It's on osteoarthritis. It showed that Protandim reduced cartilage from wearing within a joint. Everybody knows somebody with a hip, knee, shoulder replacement. If we can get this inside of people's bodies at a younger age and preserve that cartilage, we could possibly preserve some joints from having to have replacements. So that's a big deal. So I would definitely point out some of those studies. And I will be doing a video on that, actually, because my one is 15 minutes long. It'd be really nice to just do a quick NRF2, video as well. So
that would be absolutely amazing. Yeah. I'll send you our details, Angela, afterwards. If you could please email that on. Another question in here is, you mentioned a website where studies are found. Would you mind just mentioning that again?
Yeah, pubmed.gov. Yep. That's awesome. A good one. Another really good one, this would be more for chiropractors or medically minded, NRF2science.com. And that talks a lot about NRF2 science, NRF2 regarding cancer prevention, NRF2 regarding nervous system, NRF2 and cardiovascular disease. I mean, some of the #1 killers are heart disease, cancer. Those are way up there. And oxidative stress is definitely a common denominator, but NRF2, so many studies are being published on NRF2. And for those of you guys that don't know, there's 2 FDA, in the US, FDA approved drugs now that are NRF2 activators. One has been on the market 4 years for multiple sclerosis. To my knowledge, it's the #1 prescribed drug for MS. That company did a head-to-head comparison with Protandim, and they showed that Protandim was more than twice as potent at activating NRF2. So to my knowledge, Protandim is the most potent activator of the NRF2 pathway. Second drug just hit the market May 5th for ALS. That's huge. To date, we really haven't had a good answer for that. And I really think all the research that I've been reading, neurodegenerative diseases, I think we're going to see more pharmaceutical drugs trickle into the market that become FDA approved really this year. The number of studies that have already been published this year at, over 900, it's incredible. So, and all that's going to do is raise awareness in the medical world what NRF2 is. So I see that as a very good thing. If somebody knows there's a pharmaceutical with side effects, $50,000 a year to be on, all natural, no side effects, $40 a month, what are you going to choose? And more potent than these drugs. And I can only say that regarding the MS, the Tecfidera, because that study was done. I don't know about the ALS drug, but I know plant-based supplements, because of the synergy that we have with the 5 plants that are in it, it's in my mind, I think it'll be more potent than any drug that ever hits the market.
Isn't it amazing? Gosh, this product blows my mind, and you explaining it so beautifully. We've got comment after comment on here saying, I love the way Angela's explaining this. It's just so basic for all of us to understand. So thank you so much. Another question is, we've got a number of chiropractors on this call this morning here in Australia, and we often find that medical specialists have difficulty bringing a supplement into their practice. Maybe it's regulations, maybe it's just that they're not allowed to recommend certain products. How do you overcome that in the States, and is it a problem for you?
How do I recommend it in my clinic?
Yeah.
Okay. I usually, depending on that first visit with the patient, I get a thorough history. That's where I get 90% of my information on what I need to be doing with the patient anyway. I may straight off the bat explain to them NRF2 activation, and this product activates this pathway. It's going to help reduce inflammation, increase muscle healing and recovery, and may recommend it right away. Often I'll share the ABC Primetime Investigative Report, and then I'll explain a little bit, like a 2-minute blurb on what NRF2 is. And by the way, it activates this. It does this by activating a NRF2, which is a pathway in our body to increase our own antioxidants. Isn't that cool? We get to make our own antioxidants rather than take them. So often with patients, I'll go through their supplement list. They'll give me their drug list. I'll also go through their supplement list, and I call it the Dr. Oz syndrome, because some patients are on 20 different nutritional supplements, and I often will sit down and I'll say, let's go through this and figure out which ones we can whittle out, because some people are over supplementing, and that's not good for our bodies either. Sometimes we think little is good, more is better. Not the case. So for me, I've had, in my state that I practice in, my board unfortunately frowns on network marketing, which is, I don't know, it's silly. It's the most beautiful business model ever made when done right. And so I've had struggles with colleagues in my state really taking a hard look at this. But what's funny, the last convention I was at, this is 2.5 weeks ago, there was a chiropractor from New York. He was standing on the stage. There was over 100 of us chiropractors in the audience. And he said, you guys, you need to learn about this NRF2 pathway. It's going to be the most talked about pathway in 2017. And I was sitting in my seat going, oh, doctors, do you get this? And one doc in the audience said, hey, have you heard of Protandim, doc? And he said, absolutely, I have. It's an incredible precursor to glutathione. And he went on for 20 minutes talking about the importance of glutathione.